In this video, we're going to talk about a really successful dieting protocol that I like to implement with clients, especially when they're starting to struggle with adhering to the plan. How you can almost guarantee your success with weight loss. And this is called the way I like to call it, is the 2-3-5 dieting method. I know everything that has a fancy name gets more clicks, right? It is a very, very simple concept. So number one, you need to know what your calories are and or your macros. So you need to know what your protein is, you need to know what your calories are. All right. The 2-3-5 method is a very simplified way to start organizing your calories into set meals. So my belief around your meal structure should be that you should be planning first in your day, number one, your protein. So how much protein do you need? Let's just take a typical, we're going to use a 3 meal per day program. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all right? So 3 meals a day, you need to roughly divide up your protein across those meals. Not at the end of the day, the most important thing is just getting enough total protein. Total protein is priority one, then distribution of that protein is secondary, okay? But general life, most people are going to have to divide it roughly between 3 meals. Now, once you've decided on your total calories, your total protein, and your meal frequency, if we're using a 3-day schedule, you want to create 2 different breakfasts that fit within your calorie budget. Let's say it's, let's say it's a 1,200 calorie day. 400 calories for breakfast, 400 for lunch, 400 for dinner. Now, it could be 500 for lunch, 500 for dinner, and 200 for breakfast. You could do it that way as well. Again, total calories by the end of the day. But let's just say 4-4-4. And you need about 120 grams of protein. So you're going to need 40 grams of protein in the morning, 40 lunch, 40 dinner. Again, averages out over the day. Now, what you're going to do is create 2 different breakfasts that you like that fit within your 400 calories and 40 grams of protein. All right? They are your 2 breakfasts that you're going to alternate between depending on what you feel like that day. All right? There is no, what should I have today? What do I feel like tomorrow? No, there is only option A or option B. All right? You've now made your own meal plan. Number 2, you're going to do the same for lunch, but you're going to have 3 different options to choose from. It's not, I wonder what the new baguette tastes like at work that they just brought out. None of that. You have tuna rice, eggs on toast, leftover dinner. That's it. They're your 3 options. I'm just giving you an example. And then for dinner. So dinner, generally speaking, is probably the most non-negotiable meal of the day, meaning that if you're living with other people at your house, other people are going to have an input into what they like to eat. So that way, this works into being able to still live with your family members, husband, wife, kids, whoever you live with, housemates, whatever. They get a bit of an input in terms of what they would like to have as well. And then you need to accommodate and adjust your calories accordingly too. It's a bit of a give and take when you're working with families. So you're going to create around 5 different meals that you like to eat that fit within the calorie budget and hit your protein target, okay? Then you rotate through those meals. And I'll give you an example of myself, all right? So throughout the week, I know that we're going to have at least one night where it'll be a red meat night. One night will be like a pre-crumbed schnitzel kind of chicken night, right? Supermarket, we buy them pre-done. We'll have one night that may be fish, and then we'll do another night which is like a high protein dumpling. So there are 4 main meals. If we do a takeaway night, it's usually going to be something like a healthy takeaway. So something like Nando's. So it's still going to be chicken. It'll just be flavored differently. Somebody else has prepared it for you. I don't get the chips, right? We're eating healthy. I'll just make a home salad. So all you're doing is just buying a chicken. So there's 5 different options. And then when it comes around to Saturday, Sunday, you pick one of those options again. Boring, I know, but it gets results. Now, anytime anyone follows a strict meal plan, not in the way that here is a meal plan, go and follow this, but they learn to eat the foods that they like, fit it to their calorie budget, and hit some minimum requirements such as your protein intake, you'll get fantastic results. All right. It is always impossible to know how many calories you're eating if somebody else is making your food, unless they're weigh tracking, measuring all of those calories. Now, this is a skill that you do develop over time. The more practice you have at this, the easier it gets. I know if I go to a restaurant, I can probably guess that, the meal's probably going to be close to 1,000 calories. As a little side note, or a little bonus note, if you do buy something out, so let's say you do end up having lunch out somewhere, I can guarantee you that lunch is a minimum of 500 calories. So for lunch, if it's a sandwich, if you're just getting some ramen noodles, whatever it is, almost under no circumstances is it going to be less than 500 calories. And then towards the top end, you're probably pushing closer to 1,000. All right, and this is how people can easily stuff up their diet just by eating out. So number one, if you're not getting results, follow the 2-3-5 method. Number two, stop eating out. All right, make all your own food until you are getting results. All right, getting some decent weight drops consistently for a month or two. Then maybe look at adding some eat out meals. All right, but Shannon, that's boring. I want to be social. Do you want to be social, or do you want results? How important are your goals? All right, it's not a forever thing. You need to learn the basics. Proper cooking at home, healthy meals that fit your calories and macros. From there, once your results are coming in, potentially you can look at start adding into some social meals. All right, takes practice. That's a 2-3-5 method. Works every time. Now, if that's just not working for you, and this is a little bonus tip, if that isn't working for you, and anytime I've had any clients where they're just not sticking to their meals or their calories that they should be. Let's say you're just under the pump with work, kids have been driving you nuts, they've got gastro, the dog had to go to the vets, the car's broken down, husband's out of town, I don't know, whatever's going on in life. Just go onto a pre-done meal plan. So go to your supermarket, you go online, you can type in meal delivery service, right? They're pre-done, calorie counted meals. They come in a little packet. You take off the Ziploc seal, chuck it in the microwave, and you eat it. This is an absolutely foolproof way to lose weight. This is not a permanent solution. This is just a tool in the toolbox, because these companies make a living by supplying you with weight loss plan meals, right? And if they didn't work, they wouldn't be in business. Think of this during the busiest time of your life as your personal weight loss chef. All right. Yes, I know the meals aren't extravagant. They are quite tasty these days. Back when I first started losing weight, 20 odd years ago, the meals were really average, like really poorly made. Macros were really crappy. They were just total calorie counted, right? These days, they're much more geared towards the fitness community, meaning like higher in protein, a bit more fiber, etc. People are getting much more fancy with their meals. They're much tastier. If you only eat their meals, and or a method that I sometimes will use with clients, if they're just stuck in a rut and they just can't move the needle forward and they just want something done for them just to get them back into the groove, is if you eat breakfast, continue to make your own breakfast. All right. Most people like a set breakfast. They eat the same thing every day for months, if not years on end. Replace your lunch with a pre-done meal plan. Replace your dinner with a pre-done meal plan. Do that for 2 weeks. And I guarantee you will lose weight. 100% all your money back. Every single time. Unless you have something very seriously wrong with you. Meaning like you have undiagnosed thyroid issues or something similar to that, right? Or you're an extremely short person. You're below 4 foot, in height, which is not many people. Works every time, because the only time you can basically mess it up is if you don't eat their meals, or or you add more to those meals. Yes, you may be hungry, and that's part of dieting. Sometimes you may be a bit hungry, but you can even just do this in chunks. You can do like a 4-week chunk, have a break, go back to maintenance for a bit, do another 4-week chunk, and you can break up your fat loss into chunks, which is another entirely different topic for a different video. So that's a 2-3-5 method. There's some extra bonus tips if that's just too much for you at the moment and you just slam with work and life's too hectic. Do a pre-done meal plan, 2 meals a day, and do it for 2 weeks at least, right? People have gotten fantastic results with that. The 2 most important things that you want to learn is learn what your maintenance calories are and not to go above that forever for the rest of your life. And then find out your sweet spot fat loss calories. And I'll talk about this in another video. There's only 2 phases you want to ever be in. It's either maintaining your weight or active fat loss. Maintaining your weight, active fat loss, okay? If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. If you have any topics you would like me to cover, pop them in the comments below. If you would like one-to-one help, I do this online for a living. Send me a message, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you like. Fill in the form in the application below in the description. And that's pretty much it. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.